absolutely thrilled to invite Jenna in the Pink onto the stage. Woo!
Let's hear it.
Hey! I'm really sorry. You've got like 1 million followers. Obviously, I'm not one of them. I know. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling. Yeah, okay, I might. Feeling a little embarrassed, but I've been doing some reading, and what you've been doing is incredible. Do you want to of have just a little bit? You've flown up from South Australia.
I have, yes.
Yes.
From Adelaide. Shout out Adelaide. It's a lot colder there than it is here at the moment. And to be honest, being here on the sunny coast, I do not want to leave.
So you're going to do a presentation today?
Yes.
And then some fun stuff maybe at the end, some Q&A and maybe a little bit of fun stuff.
And a TikTok dance.
A TikTok
so please
dance?
stay until the end.
Okay, fantastic.
If you want to do a TikTok dance.
All right, I'm going to hand over.
Thanks. Shout out Frank Green. Not sponsored, but I wish they would. Frank Green are amazing. Anyone else have a Frank Green? Yes, these girls do. You get the hype. You do too. Love that. Hi, guys, kings and queens, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone that's come over specially to watch me speak. I'm talking about you girls. I'm talking about you girls. I'm talking about you guys. Did you guys come especially for me? Oh, you were here especially for me? Was anyone just sat here and then I just walked on stage and you're like, yeah, she looks all right. Thank you for your honesty, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, I'm going to talk a lot today. A lot. I talk a lot anyway. So when Nurture Fest messaged me, they were like, Jenna, can you come to Queensland and talk for an hour? I was like, how is this my job? Like, seriously, how do I get paid for this? Like, flying around, getting to speak at events like this, making TikTok videos. Like, how did I get here? And I'm going to tell you exactly how today. So yes, Jenna the Pink, finding my crown. If you know me and my content and my videos, I talk a lot about being a queen. I've got a little crown tattoo on my arm, and I think what a queen embodies is what everyone should be, and it's taken me a little bit of a while to find my crown, and if you're on that journey too, hopefully some things I share today will help you even just a little bit. Oh, it works, good. Okay. Living a fairy tale, as I said, most of the time, not all of the time. It's taken a lot of hard work and it's definitely still not a fairy tale, but I feel so blessed because my life has just taken off and got to such a crazy place. So surreal that I get to actually meet people that watch my videos, and a lot of the time I'm just talking to a camera, like I've got the camera on now, and to know that I'm actually connecting with people. Are you okay? Are you choking? Do you need help? Okay. Please suck carefully. Don't rush. Please don't die. Okay, I'm also a brand ambassador for Modi Body. Does anyone know Modi Body? Yeah? Shout it out, baby. Do you know what it is? Okay, it's period underwear. They were like the first brand ever to come out with period underwear, and I'm an ambassador for them, so I feel very, very proud, and it's because I make loads of videos about periods, that's why. I was also the host of Schoolies on the Gold Coast last year. I assume some of you are too young for Schoolies, but have you been to Schoolies? Did you go on the Gold Coast? Wasn't it amazing? I went for the first time. I didn't get to go to Schoolies when I was 18 because I had like a really low-key controlling boyfriend and I didn't go. So my first Schoolies experience was literally last year at Schoolies on the Gold Coast as a 25-year-old. I'm with all these 18-year-olds like, yeah! And I'm like, I'm too old for this now, but it's fun. And it was an amazing experience. And I literally got paid to go to Schoolies and host. And that's me stood on a really big stage, So pretty proud. Obviously, as I said before, just getting to travel, getting the opportunity to travel just is like a total dream come true. Like, I never wanted to feel like I was in a job where I just had to stay in one place every day and just go to a boring office. I always wanted to do something a little bit more exciting. So yeah, I feel very blessed that I do get to travel around. And my goals are just to keep growing my page, keep growing my YouTube. I would love to like have my own show on Netflix one day. Like that would like be my ultimate goal. Like a game show, or like a show where I interview people, or a show where we just like make funny trends or eat funny food or something. Watch this space. I'll make it happen. So this is my family. This is my boyfriend York. This is my cockatiel Zappy. This is my dog Dallas. This is my cat Peaches. And obviously that's me. I love my pets. I'm like a crazy pet lady. My house is like a zoo. Like my bird's always like, rah, rah, and my dog's like, ruff, ruff, and the cat's like, meow, meow. And I'm like, this is a lot. My life is already a lot, but I wouldn't change it. My boyfriend is a musician. He's a singer. He's just released his debut single, and it will be being played on Triple J next week. Oh. We're hoping he's going to be huge. His name is York Heath. Remember it, because it might be important one day. So it's my family, and I love them. The road to self-love, which is why I'm here today, because I'm sharing my journey on the road to self-love, and hopefully you guys are going to learn a little bit about how maybe you could help yourself on your own journey to self-love. Okay, so I want to take you all the way back to my childhood, I guess, which has been like a scary place to revisit. I've been putting together this presentation, and it's brought up like a lot of emotions. I've almost felt like it's like a therapy session putting together this presentation and talking to you guys as well, because I've been through a lot. I feel like I've lived about 3 lives already. It's important that I bring you all the way back to the beginning, which was where my childhood started. So I am from the UK. I was born in Bristol, and I moved to Australia when I was 9 years old. And so I'm 25. So I've been here just over half my life, a bit more than half my life. And honestly, I would not want to go back to the UK and live. I just love it in Australia. I think that that was like the biggest blessing I have from my parents, was that they brought me here, because I just would not want to be anywhere else. That ended in divorce. And I was so confused. I was like, all of these questions and more, like, what does this mean to me? Where will I live? I was like so confused. I was like, what's going to happen with my life? Like, am I going to live with my mum? Am I going to live with my dad? Like, what's going to happen? Why is everyone crying? All the time, everyone was just crying. It was so depressing. I'd gone from this like complete state of anxiety to like a complete state of depression. And you'll often hear like those two things go hand in hand. Yeah, I have to protect my family, and I still felt that way even when they were getting divorced. But things started to get semi-normal. Like, we started to sort of get settled into this new routine of going to mum's, going to dad's. Like, they'd sold the house. Like, my mum had got another boyfriend, and she seemed happy, and things like were seeming like semi-normal. I remember it was just after my parents got divorced that I had my first anxiety attack. Has anyone here ever had an anxiety attack or a panic attack? Yeah, a few of us. They're tough, hey? It's really tough. And if you haven't had one, there's actually a likely chance that you may experience one in your life. Really simple things that you can do that will help you get through it, like breathing techniques and stuff. And all this information is available online, or you can come chat to me. My dad sat with me when I was having the attack and said, breathe with me. And we did hold. And we did that for about 10, 15 minutes. And it really worked. It really did. So if you're having an anxiety attack, try some deep breathing. I think it was my body starting to process all the stuff that had happened, and actually starting to feel safe to process all the stuff that happens. Often when we're going through traumas in our lives, our bodies will put up a defense, and in the moment we do what we can to cope through the trauma. But often the backlash doesn't come until afterwards, and we can feel all that weight come onto us. And I think that was what was sort of happening around that time with me. Fortunately, things did not get better. He passed away of a heart attack in his sleep. His name was Andy Hudson. He was incredible, and I would not be the person I am today without him. Thank you, Dad. Sorry, I miss him. But I think what we can learn from this is, like, no matter what you go through, seriously, like, you can always bounce back. And when I thought that was the worst thing to ever happen to me, to like get to where I am today, to get to like do what I do, like, he'd be so proud. And so don't ever let anything define anything you go through, because there is always a way to be positive and resilient about it. Okay, so I was very sad. I was very, very sad after he died, and I pushed away pretty much everyone, like my friends. Like, I started just isolating myself at school. There's a piano here because I play piano, and when I was in school I would isolate myself from my friends and just go play piano, because it was what I felt like could get me through. And music is so powerful. Like, we've got some incredible musicians playing today, and some of the stories that they tell through their music cannot be told in any other way. So if you are a musician, you get it. And if you're not, and you're maybe struggling with some things, going through some things, then definitely explore music as a way to process, because it was so healing for me at this time. But as I said, I pushed away everyone at school and I started to get really, really down on myself. I lost all my sense of purpose. Like, I lost who I was when I felt like I was just starting to discover that. I was thrown into a place of like, I'm just sad all the time and I don't really know what else to do besides just play piano and just cry. That was pretty much my life at that time. So, which sort of resulted in me just feeling dumb. Like, I just felt dumb because I just didn't really want to be at school. I didn't mind school, like topics like music and drama really got me through it, but I just didn't really want to be at school. And my grades just fell really low. And I don't think I'm dumb. Like, I actually think I'm really, really smart. And I think if I could have my time again and be in a better mindset, I think I would have like aced it. I think I would have done so well. But yeah, I got lots of like D's and C minuses and a few. I actually think that like our brains just work a little bit differently, and I didn't necessarily suit like the traditional schooling system, and I think that there's a lot of that these days. Like, there's a lot of people that struggle in school and the system doesn't quite fit them, and I think I was one of those people. I needed like a different level of motivation. So I'm not dumb, I swear. Even though I failed, I just was not motivated. Okay, entering the next stage of my life. Okay, more trauma for me to enjoy. So I was shopping at a shopping centre in Adelaide. Not even kidding, so cliche. Shopping at a shopping centre in Adelaide with my friend. And this lady comes up to me and she's like, have you ever thought about being a model? I run a modelling agency. And I was like, I thought about being an actor and a singer, don't get me wrong, but I hadn't necessarily thought about being a model, purely because I was like, aren't models meant to be like super skinny, like super skinny? And like, I've always been about the same size. I'm not like big, but I'm not like model skinny. So when she asked me, I was a bit thrown, and I was a bit like, not really. And she's like, she's like so schmoozy. Oh, you have this perfect look. I've just started my first modelling agency and I'd like to sign you. And I was like, okay, this is weird. But I honestly had such low self-esteem at the time. Like, someone giving me a bit of attention and like almost saying I can make your dreams come true without saying it. I was like, yes, like I am going for that. So I met with her and I signed with her modelling agency, and it started out good, as a lot of these things do. So I was booking lots of regular gigs and regular shows. There you go, you can see a couple of pictures of me. I was booking lots of gigs. Probably my main style of modelling was I used to model wedding dresses. I used to model the most stunning wedding dress in the whole world, seriously. There was this one that was literally like a $15,000 gown, and it was so heavy, and I had to wear it on this runway, and it was incredible. I don't even feel like I can wear a wedding dress when I get married, because I just feel like I've worn all my dream dresses already. I'll probably wear something pink when I get married. Watch his face. I'll call my boyfriend afterwards. I've been like, I told the crowd we're getting married and we need to wear a pink wedding dress. He'd be like, no. So I did a lot of modelling. My main style was bridal modelling, and I did enjoy it. I loved being on camera. Like, I loved that feeling of like posing and like getting complimented, as we all do. But quite quickly, I was starting to be compared to the other girls in my modelling agency. So it would be things like my agent would line us all up in a row and sort of go through and measure us and do like our measurements here, and go like, yes, you can do Fashion Week, you can't do Fashion Week. You can do Fashion Week, you can't do Fashion Week. And I was obviously one that couldn't, because I've got a little bit of junk in the trunk, and that wasn't good enough for a model. So I was starting to be compared to all the other girls in my modelling agency, and I'm quite competitive. Like, I used to play netball and soccer and stuff when I was younger, and I really wanted to be the best model at my modelling agency. I wanted to make this a full-time job. I wanted to be the skinniest. I wanted to be the prettiest. I wanted to take the best photos. I wanted to have the best catwalk. Like, I wanted to be the best. And so I started starving myself. I started not eating because I couldn't really see any other logical way to do it. I was like, what's the quickest way to lose weight? Just stop eating. And it worked for a bit. like it made me lose weight like really quickly, quite dramatically. I was probably about 15 kilos lighter than I am now, so I was really quite skinny. You can probably see on a couple of these photos, I don't know, I look kind of the same. But I started to get into this toxic mentality of like skinniness is going to bring me happiness, is going to bring me success. The skinnier I am, the more successful I'm going to be. So my modelling agency put all the models in her agency up for Miss Universe. So I competed for Miss Universe and I was selected as a finalist, but this was whilst I was starving myself. And I think that one of my best traits is like my speaking ability and like my bubbliness and things like that. But I competed for Miss Universe and on the speaking portion, I like froze because my brain was like not getting fed properly and I just couldn't think. So I obviously didn't win Miss Universe. And I really started to gain this like toxic mentality of it was because I wasn't skinny enough that I didn't win. It was because I wasn't pretty enough, or like just always comparing myself, always making myself feel put down and not worthy because I was comparing myself to others, which none of us should do because we're all so unique. I continued to compete in modelling competitions, and there was another competition called Australian Supermodel of the Year in which I won, which was a really, really proud moment. But as you can probably hear, it was surrounded by a lot of toxic thinking and a lot of toxic behaviour. And even though I am really proud that I won, I wanted to be more than a model because even though I loved being on camera, I felt like my personality was actually what made me unique and actually what made me special. And I think I'm smart enough to actually understand that comparing myself to others actually isn't a healthy thing and no one should do at all. So yeah, I was a supermodel for a little bit and I travelled around and got paid to model for some incredible brands, and I'll always look back on that and be so, so thankful, but also thankful that it's over, if that makes sense. So I want to talk a little bit about my social media and how it started and how I behaved in the beginning and how I behave now. So while before TikTok, I started an Instagram page, and on the Instagram page, it was like my modelling page. I'd upload my modelling photos like this one, and I'm telling you, this photo is so edited, man. I sat there on Facetune for like half an hour, like picking up my waist, making sure you couldn't see the background had like been taken in, smoothing my face. Like, I wish I had the original photo to compare it to, but I couldn't find it. But I was doing a lot of editing on my photos, and it was that thing that I was talking about earlier of like constantly comparing myself, because not only was my competition every time I walked into my modelling agency, but it was now online, because the models in my modelling agency that had more followers were getting more bookings. And I was like, another thing for me to have to do. Okay, let's do it. So I started uploading my modelling photos and gained a couple of thousand followers on Instagram, but I think a lot of it was based off of this false identity that I was sharing of myself that felt really inauthentic. I changed my tune though, because I was having girls in my community in Adelaide messaging me going, oh, can I have some modelling tips? Like, how did you get into it and stuff? And I started to feel this weight of like, I'm being quite misleading. Like, I'm not being a good role model. And I can feel that even though I've only got a few thousand followers, I wasn't famous by any means, but there were people looking up to me and I didn't want to let them down. It felt really wrong to like keep projecting this false image of myself. So I uploaded a photo to my Instagram, which was a bit different to this one. And it was one where I was like posing, and then it was one where I was like this. And you might have seen some of those posts. And it like was my best post ever. It got like over 1,000 likes, which for me back then, that was huge. And all of a sudden I was like questioning everything I was doing. I was like, maybe I should do this. The feeling I was getting from girls messaging me going, this is so inspiring to see a model like not being afraid to like show her realism. And yeah, quite quickly I was feeling like, oh, like maybe this is a bit more me, like being a good role model and feeling like I'm putting goodness into the world. Like, it started to feed a different part of me that I hadn't actually fed before, and it was nice, and it's got me to here, so it's obviously worked. So I quit modelling because I was like, this is this is a lot, and it was not for me anymore. And I started working in radio. So I worked for Nova, and I also worked for the Hit Network. And I did like some street team stuff, and I did a little bit of on-air stuff. And it was a grind. I would get up, I'm not even kidding, at like 3 a.m. to like be paid like $16 an hour to like be lifting heavy stuff. And it was a lot. And also radio is quite dominated, no offense guys, it's quite dominated by men. And there was a real culture of misogynistic behavior in the radio industry, which was quite upsetting. There was heaps of sexualization of women. There was heaps of putting women down. Women had to work harder to get the same opportunities as men. So even though I was getting a few opportunities, like I was hosting events for Nova and stuff like that, it was feeling quite toxic. But because I'd just finished up with the modeling industry, I was like, let's try something new. Let's give it a chance. I'm obviously quite good at this as well. And maybe this might lead somewhere. It didn't. It really didn't. Okay. Jenna the Pink was born. When I was working in radio, I started my TikTok page, and when I was modeling, they wouldn't let me dye my hair. I wanted to put like a rose sort of tint in my hair, not like pink, but like sort of rose gold. And my modeling agency was like, no, if you dye your hair, like we will fire you, like you'll be let go. And honestly, like, you don't say that to me because that's almost a challenge. So I quit. That was how I quit. And I dyed my hair pink. Not quite this pink, but it was sort of a tint. And then it's just sort of grown into being more and more pink and just loving pink even more. And I think it was a little bit of that, like, you can't dye your hair pink, that almost made me love it even more, because you don't tell me I can't do something, because it'll make me want me to do it more. So yes, Jenna the Pink was born, and I changed my social medias over from my name, which was just Jenna Hudson, to Jenna with the Pink, because I thought it sounded a bit more popping, like a little bit more inspiring, like, hi. Like every time I'd watch YouTubers with like quirky names, like it'd always be like, oh, that's cool. Like I just thought I needed something a little bit more exciting than Jenna Hudson, so Jenna with the Pink seemed pretty cool. COVID sucked, didn't it? It was really suckish, and I think some of us are still dealing with some of it. I lost my job in radio because of COVID. COVID started and I got an email from my boss saying there's no more work for you. And I was pretty devastated, to be honest, because I'd worked pretty hard at modelling and then quit that. I worked pretty hard in radio and quit that. And I was sort of starting to feel like just a bit of a failure. Like a lot of my friends had like graduated university at this point, and I was still like pretty much no clue of what I really wanted to do or where my path was leading. Through COVID, we obviously didn't do a whole lot. We stayed in a lot. And that gave me the perfect opportunity to start my TikTok career. Honest to God. I was uploading every single day and really quickly getting views. And like I said earlier, like I'm a bit competitive. That just like fueled a fire in me when I started getting views and I started getting followers, and I woke up overnight with 20,000 followers from one viral video, and I said to my boyfriend, this is what I want to do now. I'm going to do this. And I was looking up to other influencers like, you guys might know Brooke Styles. She's from the Sunshine Coast too. I was looking up to other influencers like her that were living it, that were living exactly what I wanted. I would go onto her story and see that she was doing meet and greets with fans, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Like I just have to keep going. I just have to build. And because TikTok was giving me like the growth, it hasn't stopped my obsession with it. I upload at least a few times a week now, and I try and be a little bit more thoughtful about my videos than I did back then. But I just became obsessed, and I will be like so grateful forever for TikTok. I know it's a bit controversial sometimes, but just for me, I'm going to be so grateful for it forever, because it in a sense, it like saved my life. It changed my life. Like it gave me so much purpose. And now I'm like getting into things like YouTube and growing my following there. And like, if you would have told me like 10 years ago, you're going to be like a famous YouTuber, I would have been like, shut the front door. Like no way that's going to happen. So I feel very proud of myself. And yeah, slight thank you to COVID for that one, because I was like getting paid by Centrelink to make TikTok videos even back then. So that was pretty lit. Yes, so during COVID, obviously, it was ups and downs though, and a lot of the stuff that I'd been through with my dad and with my family and with the modelling industry sort of all came back up when COVID happened, and I don't really know why. Well, I do know why. It was a stressful time, but I guess I just wanted to make a point here just to say, like, if you're going through something, it might come up again later in life, and that grieving and processing our emotions and anxiety, it can be a lifelong journey, and your life is going to be like this. Sometimes you're going to feel so low, and some of these times after COVID, I felt so low that I didn't want to be here anymore. And some of us might have those feelings in our life, and just know that it's totally normal. It is so normal. Life is so stressful, but just as we're down here, we'll start to come back up. And you might be down there for a little longer than you maybe want, but I swear to God, you will come back up. And it might go back down again, but then it will come back up again, because what goes down must go up. We'll go with that. But healing does take time, and I still have my bad days, don't get me wrong. Like, I get so stressed out that I just cry and cry and cry. But as you saw earlier, legit. But it's so normal, and no matter what you're going through, like, having a community around you is the most important thing. I'm not even kidding. Because isolation would drive you crazy. Because your mind would just go do, 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 do. You need to talk, and you need to talk about your feelings. And if you can't find the people around you, go online, because I found a lot of my community online. A lot of my best friends I found online. So if you're feeling like the people surrounding you aren't quite fitting what you need, if you're talking to them and they're not actually really helping you in the way that you need, keep searching, because there will be those people out there to support you. And you might meet them here today, who knows? So I'm building my pink army, and I would love it if anyone here is not following me already to follow me. I talk a lot about self-love, and I talk a lot about just being yourself. And I think that being yourself is really a superpower, because I tried to compare myself to other people for so long. And do you know what got me somewhere? Was being myself. I literally got nowhere pretending to be someone else. So I hope that you can take a little bit of that inspiration and continue to love yourselves. You're all on your self-love journey. I'm on my self-love journey. It's a lifelong journey. I don't know where it will lead. It might lead somewhere fantastic for you. It's led somewhere pretty fantastic for me. But I love you guys, and thank you so much for listening to me talk today. I'm hoping that we might be able to do a group TikTok together, if that's okay.